Hi, everyone. Happy Friday. And thank you for joining us for a very special Social Pulse Weekly. We know there's a lot going on in the world right now, very uncertain times. Many of us, and most of us, have never been through anything like this before. So we're here to help you get through that in a very positive way and help provide you with tools and resources that your business can use to continue to succeed during this time. So thank you, everyone, so much for joining us. And remember, this is a two-way conversation. So if you have questions, make sure to ask them. We want to know how you're doing as well. So please let us know if you're joining us live, who you are, where you are, and something positive that's happened to you this week or personally in your life or for your business. We want to know how you're all doing. And again, if you have questions, concerns about anything, definitely let us know because we are here for you. Well, you guys are in store for a great show because we have 4 amazing, powerful women joining us today. This is going to be an epic conversation about empowering and activating your community and providing some resources and structure to relieve that anxiety, and also kind of a blueprint to provide lasting positive change for your business. With that said, let's get started announcing everyone. First off, we have the amazing Rebekah Radice. She is the founder of Brilla, a woman-owned digital marketing and CX design firm, author of the Social Media Mastery, a comprehensive guide to strategic growth, and the creator of the Prep Performance Method. Rebekah, thank you so much for joining us and taking time out of your Friday to do so. We really appreciate you being here.
Oh, my pleasure. It is an absolute treat for me to get to hang out with, of course, you again, but all of these ladies that, wow, that was quite the intro. So I can't wait to hear the rest of them.
All right, it's going to be epic, guys. All right, next up, we have Debra Trappen. She is a sought-after strategist, a best-selling author, a podcaster, professional keynote speaker, and respected voice of women's empowerment movements. Woohoo! She is known for her signature truth wrapped in grace with sides of sass, moxie, and fire way of communicating and engaging her beloved communities. Her first book, Fire Up, Taking Your Life and Business to 11, and the Fire Up podcast are both accessible on her website. When you are ready to live your best life out loud, on purpose, and on your own terms, visit DebraTrappen.com. She double dog dares you.
I love it.
Debra, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
So fired up to be here with all of you lionesses. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And I just can't get over your hair. I want it. I really, when my hairstylist opens again, I'm going to get your hair.
I'll hook you up with the formula. How's that?
Oh my God, that sounds amazing. Debra, thank you. Thank you so much. All right, guys, we have 2 more. We have Jessika Phillips. She is a social media strategist known for her outspoken dedication to relationship marketing. Jessika's personal mission is to inspire people to love more, give more, and be more through using authentic relating in their everyday to build relationships. She founded the Now Marketing Group in 2010 with only a laptop and a vision. And now her company is a Forbes recognized agency partner and a certified inbound partner with HubSpot. Now Marketing Group works with more than 100 clients across the United States and beyond, choosing to serve, not sell. Jessika teaches comprehensive relationship marketing, presents in a weekly videocast, Magnet Marketers, and hosts one of the largest social media Midwest conferences, Social Media Week Lima. Jessika, oh my God, I'm so glad to have you on. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm hanging out with all you amazing ladies on here, talking about something that I think we can spin in a positive way. And so I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Jessika, thank you so much. Oh, this is going to be an epic conversation, but we have one more, guys. The amazing, the incredible Mia Voss. Mia is a lifestyle blogger, brand ambassador, and social media storyteller. And she is joining us live from her construction site right now with her hard hat. You guys, she's like literally on her phone right now joining us, and we only have a precious 30 minutes with her, so just FYI. But let's continue talking about how amazing she is. She connects brands and businesses to their most powerful buying market, women. She's currently working with brands such as Colette Travel, Lexus, Toyota, BMW, and more. Her engaging and energized style showcases businesses with, I should say, authentic and entertaining social content. Mia considers herself an accidental entrepreneur and has never been afraid to change, shift, and be open to stumbling upon new opportunities. Mia, oh my gosh, you're just hardcore as ever. How are you doing?
Good. It's weird having somebody talk about you when you're right there.
Yeah, you know what? We do that on purpose to make you feel uncomfortable. Did you like that?
Yeah, in case you're wondering who I am, I also, the hat has the name on it too. So
I like this so nobody can actually take your hard hat. That's a good thing. So yes. Mia, I'm so glad you're here. So let's bring everyone on the show. I mean, this is a powerhouse of women. Like, this is incredible. I'm in awe of all of you and everything you've accomplished. And I think here today, the goal is going to be to provide resources for people, in their businesses. This is kind of scary. I know a lot of entrepreneurs and businesses have lost business just because people are pausing things because these are uncertain times. They're not sure what the future holds. And so there's also a time of opportunity that I think people don't realize as well. So I want to talk about just all the things going on and how we can make things so much better for everyone. But really quick shout out. We have Brian Fanzo in the house. We have Larry Weinstein, Mitch Jackson. Mitch, we love you. You're amazing. Mitch was live at 12 o'clock Eastern earlier today about tax information for home businesses. So if you missed that live, watch it. Watch the replay. We've got Tony Christensen here. Tony, thank you so much for joining us. George Demanis, all you men, you guys are amazing. And everyone else, thank you so much. So let's get right to it. So obviously, the elephant in the room continues to be the coronavirus and how it's kind of impacting us on a daily basis. Everything, all the information is changing. But I would love to know from each of you how it's impacted you and how you've stayed positive and pivoted your business to help clients and build community. And along with that, how have you empowered your community? So we're going to kick it off with Mia, hard hat Mia first, and see how you've handled everything.
Sure. Well, I have two different businesses. So, I kind of had to pivot twice. Clearly, I'm here on a job site today. One of my businesses is building inspection, and what I do is I put punch lists together. So I had to have conversations with my clients this week and say, hey, we need to do the 6-foot rule at least. Obviously, I'm wearing the gloves, and it's kind of it's really, this is unprecedented for all of us in every kind of business. None of us have ever seen something that affects everywhere, right? Usually it's a storm that's somewhere else or, pardon?
Oh, I don't think that was any of us. Yeah, no, keep going, Mia.
Oh, sorry. So it's really, it's an interesting time. So I've had to pivot here and really they put some things in place here on the job site. And then for my business, luckily I had not really planned anything, but I have friends that are in the travel industry that really, oh my gosh, I mean, things have been decimated for them, for their plans. So everybody's, beyond just the health things, everyone has something that it's affected them, and they've had to pivot quite a bit.
Oh my God, that's crazy. But I love the positive attitude and everything you're doing to just, it's very intriguing and you can easily get down. But the fact that you're moving on and thinking of other possibilities, I think that's great. And we've got Richard Clarkson says, hey, Mia, say hi to Frenchie the Gidget for me. And he wants to see her. What's a punch list? Mitch Jackson just asked, what's a punch list?
Sometimes when you're in your own head, you're like, doesn't everybody know what that is? So when you build a new home or you have new construction, it's a list. And what it used to be in the old school times is they would punch off the items that were done on a literal sheet of paper. So that phrase still comes through, but it's a list of deficiencies that they need to fix. And I'm literally sitting on my project right now. It's a condo project here in Denver, but I'm self-cocooning on the job site. So I basically boss men around for a living.
Way to go, Mia. That sounds like a pretty awesome job, Sounds like a lot of fun. We like that, Mia. So Jessika, let's bring it to you. How has the coronavirus impacted you? And, I know we have an amazing conference, Social Media Week Lima, coming up in June. I know you've thought about that. I'll be speaking there. I'm excited to still go there and attend. But tell us how, clients that have come to you, what is their biggest fear? And what have you talked to them about to calm things down for them? And what are you thinking about personally for your business moving forward?
Sure. Yeah. So as you said, all of us are going through this for the first time together. And as Mia said, usually when things happen, it's pretty isolated. So I think all of us are experiencing this in a different way. According to how we handle stress. So when it comes to what I'm doing really internally with my team first is really trying to focus on sharing information with them first and trying to keep their spirits up. We were pretty fortunate that we have worked remote, and I've worked remote for 13 years. We have an office. I'm actually in it now by myself, but the team only came in 2 days a week before. So we were quickly able to pivot, but that doesn't mean that they're not still struggling kind of in their households as their spouses are getting let go from work, or they're not able to find, the groceries and things that they need. So what I've really tried to do is a positive message, every day, whether it's just hey, look, here's a client success story of someone that we were able to help them kind of think of their business different. And that's really been the key, is looking at each business. So the restaurants and things that have had to close, and maybe they weren't set up on, an Uber Eats or, a DoorDash, and really trying to think to them or speak with them and say, okay, how can we do your business a little bit differently? And how can we help you integrate any kind of telework, if you will, or working remote that you can do within your office? So we've actually been fortunate to be busier than ever before, in terms of really looking at our roles as marketers, as we're really helping the businesses kind of save their business right now. And really sharing those stories back with the team has really encouraged them to kind of keep going. And then we keep this communication thread going all day on a group me. So it's kind of like a group texting app. I'm just sharing positive success stories and sharing funny things that are lighthearted and inspiring, as well as really just opening up and understanding that work is not going to be perfect when you're working from home and your children are out of school. 1, 2, it's not going to be perfect when you're trying to, help your kids maybe go through their schooling online. Your hours are going to look a little bit different. Clients are going to be operating a little bit different. So it's really about just being flexible, being human, staying positive, and really just communicating openly with your team and your clients that you're there for them first, no matter what. 2, let's get creative and see what we can do out of this, and then really connecting people together so they can have a new way of doing business and really support one another during this time.
And Jessika, I would just have to say all your clients are very lucky to have you just to guide them. I think it's so critical in this time, especially if you're a small business or even an entrepreneur, to have someone like a thought leader like you with your expertise to guide them is so amazing. So Jessika, you're awesome. So thank you for sharing all those fun tips and everything. Now let's get to Debra. Debra, you are just, you're just a powerhouse of awesomeness. I would love to know, and I don't think we've met before, right, Debra, before
No, this is the first time. Yeah.
Yeah. And so just your presence, even just coming into StreamYard before we even went live, is just wow, it's like Beyonce. So
wow. Hello.
That's fierce. Yeah.
So Debra, I want to know, how you've helped your clients and just your business personally, professionally. How have you stayed positive? What pivots have you made to make sure you remain successful and just kind of keep everyone calm during this uncertain time?
You bet. Well, I think first of all, as all of us have either shared in the green room or on screen, is most of us have been training for this since 2012 or the early 2000s, since we started our own businesses. So I think that there's power in that. And I think we need to celebrate that what we've been training for is now going to help others stay afloat. the bulk of my business is really working with the humans behind the businesses. And what I've seen a lot of in a lot of the conversations I'm having is a lot of the women that I work with have always had this feeling that their business wasn't real because they worked at home, that they felt other people kind of looked at them like, oh, well, you're working from home, so you got it so easy. And they're all kind of having this moment where they're like, see, this is real, people. Working from home is not super easy. And I think that there's a little validation happening, which is a beautiful thing. It's beautiful that they're finally realizing amongst their peers who were going 9 to 5 somewhere else, that there's a validity to working from home, and it's not easy. And they're actually able to now reach their hand out and go, oh, you need to learn how to use Zoom? Let me help you out, sister. And so I'm loving seeing that. I'm loving seeing them kind of step into their power as entrepreneurs or solopreneurs working from home. So that's definitely a big thing I've seen. Personally, in my business, I had a couple of events in March that were ixed, obviously, and we turned them into virtual events, right? One of them we kind of we pulled a little bit out of a presentation that I was going to give on empowering and uncovering your ideal lioness pride. And we took one element of it that everyone could work on in the next 2 weeks and really dig into their own personal development while they have some time. And had a lot of fun around talking about that, right? About shifting and readjusting what we were doing there. And then in one of the women's movements that I help lead called Woman Up, and specifically inside the real estate industry, we flipped an event we were supposed to have in Boston over to a Facebook Live event. And it was fantastic. Everyone was like, this is so great. We love this. And it's a community that's used lives before, but hadn't really seen something where it was 2 hours and 7 different 15-minute conversations, and they felt like they'd actually been at an event. So it's fun to introduce people who don't normally live in this world to this world of virtual connection and really learning, right? It's so beautiful.
And I have a really quick question for you, Debra, a follow-up. With that virtual event, I know it can be hard to transition an event just from in person to virtual. Was there anything that made it extra special to allow it to be more connective with the people and the attendees?
So we obviously had, we've got a group of women called wave makers inside this particular movement that were in the stream, kind of helping keep everyone connected and answering questions, so that we weren't doing the traditional Facebook Live, which is reading and then answering and then reading and then answering. We actually allowed the conversations to flow. And so we really stepped up having additional moderators in the stream, which was really, really helpful. We also we had conversations around handling difficult conversations with heart that we had planned to talk about in Boston. And now we pivoted them to talk about how are we discussing everything happening with coronavirus. So handling the difficult conversations with clients who might be in the middle of a contract, and now, their contractor or their inspector is in lockdown and they can't go to the house. How do they have that conversation? How do they, quell fears, et cetera? We also talked about ways to spread happipiness and intention inside that industry. And while the original intent behind the conference was not to talk about the virus, we pivoted. Right. So we peppered it in. We didn't make it all about COVID-19. We peppered it in enough where people felt empowered. They felt inspired. And I really believe, and I'm claiming that they were ignited, right? They felt totally equipped to have additional conversations that they've never had to have before in their entire lives.
And the fact that you were able to create an event like that and just kind of a community and just, I don't know, an atmosphere where people felt safe and empowered, and that it's okay. It's going to be okay, during this uncertain time. We all feel the same way, I think is so powerful, to everyone. So I love that, Debra. That's amazing. And really quick shout out. We've got Scott Ayers in the house. Thanks for joining us. Ashley Graham. She says we need compassion and understanding more than ever right now, which is so, so true. Mitch, I asked Mitch to share the link to his Facebook Live. with the Tax Terminator. It's home business tax tips, which is very, very useful. So, anyone who has a home business, definitely check that out. But Rebekah, let's get to you and your business. And really quick, we had George pop up right now. My wife, who has never worked from home before, feels guilty because she doesn't feel like she's working enough, as she's been getting her work done in less time than it takes her to do it at the office. And I can attest to that a little bit, because I remember there were a few times when I used to work in an office and then would work from home, and I would be like, man, I get my work done in like 5 hours at home rather than 8 hours in an office, because I get distracted. People pull me into different things. But when I'm at home, I'm isolated and I just knock it out. So tell her not to feel that way. Tell her she's doing an amazing job, and just to keep it up, and, just give herself a break a little bit. Yes.
Can I just make a point on something that Debra just said too, that goes in with what you said? I've come up with this phrase, keeps coming to me, this word, that this is such an equalizing time. This is the great equalizer, in a sense of that a lot of the folks, yes, that work from home or did the office, there was a chasm between folks and a lack of understanding. And now it's leveling the playing field for so many different things, including the folks that are, in an office. And I do think it's going to become more of a trade and a share economy, in a sense, like Debra was saying, how people say, "Oh, I'll help you out with Zoom," because we've been doing this. All of us that are here have been doing this home thing. What did you say, Rebekah? We talked the other day, days 10,000 or something.
Yes, exactly. Of our self-quarantine.
Yeah, sorry if I took your line, but I just had to say that because it was so funny. I'm like, yeah, but it is nice for us to be able to help folks that it's not that they feel like George's wife, or feel like people that are. It's a new world order.
Yeah, it definitely is. And with that said, you had a beautiful transition to Rebekah. Rebekah, I would love to know with you, how are your positioning what's happening right now to your clients, how you're pivoting your business, and, staying positive, because you're one of the most positive people I've ever met, Rebekah. You're just so sweet, and it's just like a ray of sunshine to everyone. And I would just love to know how you're keeping that mentality. And if you do, somehow switch it negative, how you quickly transition back to positive, and just, keeping, everything successful.
Well, and I think it's so much of what everybody has echoed here, which is we're all in this together. So it's keeping it real and understanding that what I'm going through is what we're all going through, what I'm feeling, what I'm dealing with, what I'm struggling with. And it's also, I think, been a great realization for me, and it feels like I'm hearing that across the board here today too. We all know more than we give ourselves credit for. We've been doing things for who knows how long within our businesses. And so I think it's a great time, a great opportunity for us to feed that back into our audience, back into our communities, and really be that resource, that source of hope within all of this. And I can tell you that we definitely all need to be thinking about pivoting our messaging, what was maybe appropriate, maybe interesting to your audience, to your customers, could now be perceived as very tone deaf at this point. So it's really thinking about, what do they need to hear from you right now? What are they concerned about? What are those absolute worries that they're struggling with that you could help them with today? You talked about Mitch, and how perfect that timing is, jumping in and talking about this tax extension, and certainly how that impacts all of us as entrepreneurs, small business owners, but just as humans, how that impacts us and what that looks like. So really thinking about what you could be talking about right now, how you could reposition that a bit in a way, and then how you can over communicate. I don't know that I could say that enough. That communication and connection is really what we need at this point. And I know there can be a knee-jerk reaction when something like this happens, and certainly none of us have been through anything like this. But there can be that reaction to pull back, to kind of sink into our shell and want to figure it all out. And I just know for myself, What I need is those conversations. I need that empathy, that understanding that, hey, I'm struggling through this right here with you. So as you think about how you're working through this within your business, think about how can I over communicate what steps we're taking, what we're doing with our team, like Jessika talked about, just even sharing how you're communicating with your team right now is so incredibly powerful for somebody else that's struggling with that to be able to say, oh, I could implement that right now. I could add in, a little touch point here or there. So I just think there's so many different ways we can stay positive. We can look at this as an opportunity to really get to know our audience and our customers on a much deeper level. But there's also things we've got to do for ourselves that come back to self-care. I don't know about all of you, but I had to take a step back from the news and social media, just the doom and gloom. I think, and Mia, I think you and I talked about this the other day. There's a difference between being informed and being overly informed.
And then self-medicating.
Well, okay, that could be good or bad, but yes. Yeah, absolutely. And so
Yeah.
I think that's where that communication comes in. And so for me, it's been really outreach too. I struggle with being that person, and all of you here today are so much better at this than me, but really being deliberate in reaching out to people and saying, hey, just touching base. How are you doing? How are you feeling? Anything going on? I think that's more important now than ever because you just don't know. You don't know the headspace. You don't know the mental situation for that person, what's going on with their family, their community, their friends. So really staying in touch, I think is going to be really critical for us as well.
And all those tips are what we need right now, Rebekah, because it's funny. I am I like to say I'm a social butterfly. I love talking to people, going out, and even Brian, my boyfriend, he's like, Jen, don't do it. Just stay at home. And I'm like, well, I feel so isolated, it's just, it is. And this kind of conversation right now is just, oh my, it's freeing, it's entertaining, it's just escaping everything. And just, things aren't that bad, I mean, well, some degree they are, but you know what I mean? Like there are positive
There's
things,
a lot of good that comes
I guess
out.
I should say.
Yeah.
And with that said, with that said, with everyone watching, we want to know something positive, either personally, professionally, that's happened to you in the past week. Share it with us. Because last week I shared a Facebook post of just let me know something positive that's going on in your life. And I had a couple of friends buy their dream house. Someone's dad had a very successful heart surgery. There's a lot of good that's still happening in the world despite this crisis. And so I want to, make sure we all focus on that, which obviously you guys are. And Mia, I see you moving. We are 2 minutes away from 2:30. So Mia, I want you, Mia has to leave because she's on the construction site. So we only got a precious 30 minutes with her. Mia, what final tips do you have for businesses that are struggling right now, and even like entrepreneurs? What would you like to tell them just to get them through this time?
Gotcha. Well, they let me know I could take my hard hat off. I got the word. I was like, oh, good.
Oh, I liked it on me. I liked it.
And I have a few more minutes, but boy, I think the thing too, when Rebekah talked about the tone deaf thing, it's so. I know you guys have all seen some stuff. I'm like, oh my word, that is awful. Like, it was a friend of mine got a postcard the other day from a cruise line. Like, just got it, which means they sent it out, and you're like, oh dear, like that. So the tone deaf things can be so, can be taken so wrong. So yeah, for your clients and, even keeping an eye out for your friends of like, gosh, you might want to be careful about posting that because it is such a sensitive world right now, and rightly so. For sure. So I say definitely keep an eye on that. And then I told you this the other day, Rebekah. I actually took Facebook off my phone, believe it or not. And that's helped me tremendously from a spiritual and a mental health space, because I don't get as much, I want to be I want to be aware of the news. So I go to the news source, but I'm finding on Facebook, I'm getting people's opinion about the news. And so they post links. And so only checking it like twice a day now of Facebook has been amazing. It's really cut out a lot of chatter for me. Does that make sense?
Yes, no, it definitely makes sense. And Ashley Graham said, the newsfeed extension for Chrome is a hero for this. So yes, Ashley Graham.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. And I would, just on a spiritual level, I really, I'm going to get woo-woo on you, because that's what I do. But
I love it.
I think this is a time for us, because there isn't as much chatter and input for us intuitives and empaths especially. You're all here, I know you. It is a time for us to really check in, and we're going to be getting a lot more inspiration for pivoting later on, when we are able to get our businesses back up and running once everyone's in a better space. So I think it's time. I'm meditating twice a day now. It's pretty funny, and it's not easy, but I do guided meditations. So yeah, that's one thing I've really been doing, and I'm going to start knitting again.
No, and that's amazing.
Nice.
And that's so wonderful. And we've got, let's see. What's George Manis? George Manis said, my last management client.
Oh, it's probably an F-bomb in it.
Yeah. Oh, I've needed to cut Ben. They said they have to let me go. It's the best way to get it gracefully. Well done, George. And I may be signing a new ad client today. So 2 bits of good news there. George, that's awesome. It's always great to find the right clients. And Mia, can you stay for a little longer? Do you have to go? Do you have to run?
I've got about 5 more minutes. I want to hear what everybody else has to say, and then I'll get out of here.
Okay, no, we don't want you to leave. We don't want you to leave. I'm watching your time for you, because I understand you have a very important job, and I appreciate you being here. So yeah. So let's go back to Jessika. Jessika, what are 3 tips that you would give businesses right now, to really, I watched you talk at Social Media Marketing World, and your talk was amazing. And I've seen you post on social media as well. It's a great time to redefine your social media strategy and a couple of other things. But if you have extra time on your hands, or, during this crisis, it's a great way to rethink things and how you do things. So what are your suggestions for businesses right now?
Well, I loved what Rebekah was saying. First, really look at your tone, and Mia was saying, really look at the tone of the posts that are going out, and then change it up. This is a great time, as Rebekah was saying too, to really get to know your audience if you haven't already, and your community. So one thing that we've been working with a lot of our clients on, and even ourselves, so we have this 10-year anniversary that we're celebrating, but we didn't want to do it in a way that's just talking about that. So we're how can we do this in a way that's going to uplift others and get to know our community even on a deeper level, and change our content that way. But also with the team members, there's so many tools out there that are being offered for free, like Zoom and LinkedIn Learning's giving some things away. And Adobe had a really amazing offer to learn Adobe for $34. And so we're taking all these tools and aggregating it, saying, okay, what's one thing that you really wanted to double down on this year that you can use some of this time to level up? And what I mean by that, Tony Robbins, I went to this Tony Robbins event a few months ago, and he really doubled down on saying, invest in the winter. And it's what you do in the times that it seems like things are slower, or, you're not getting as much done, or maybe there's not enough money coming in. That's when you want to double down to really hone in on your skills. So you are, harvesting that, and it's blooming in the spring, right? If you will. So it's really a time, one, to check in, use this time to get to know your audience on a deeper level, even your team members, right? And really connecting with them and being there to show up and support them. But then also seeing what is one thing we can use this time for while we're at home to double down in and strengthen our skill sets so we can come out even better than before. And that's really what we've been focusing on with clients too, is just sharing those resources and really helping them use this for a time for good.
And I love all that advice because, Jessika, it's amazing the companies that are providing free resources, free tools. Like it's pretty fascinating. Even some of the greeting card, like digital greeting card companies, it's free to send someone a card, which I love. And
Even, oh.
yeah, keep going.
No,
Yeah.
I was going to say, like, even like there is St. Patty's Day, right? All the bars closed down, all the restaurants closed down. So we were like working with bands to stream live, and then people like hang out and listen to the bands live. And, you know, you have this digital community that's participating, and then they're donating money to store up to give to the bars that had to close down, that are locally owned, you know, places that everybody knows and loves, but they're going to be hurting for a little bit there. So they've been raising funds to give back in the community. So using our gifts and using the power of social media to do good. So and get creative with it, like we've been talking about. So whether that's streaming live, your tips, like Mitch Jackson, perfect example. We talked with our insurance client today, and we're like, hey, all these questions that we're asking you and your other clients are asking you, like, go answer that live on social. What a great time to show up and provide good and helpful information versus sharing all that stuff out there that Mia is saying that she's wanting to cancel out. All of us are wanting to cancel out. You know, sharing good, helpful information that resonates with your community, and then tune out all the other garbage, because your mindset is everything. And in times like this, I really firmly believe, like what Mia is saying, double down on self-care, whether that's meditating, learning a new skill set, building community and connecting with people, so you don't feel so isolated. I've actually done more hangouts. I've had more of a social life since this happened than I did before, because I'm not running to dance studios and all the places that moms run after hours. So I've been able to like hang out with people and do live dinners together where we're all hanging out on Zoom and hang out each night. Cards Against Humanity games going on tonight that Christine Gritman has going on with a group of people. Like, you just got to get creative with it.
Oh my God, Jessika, I love that. And I think people, you know, get too bogged down with the negativity, where it's a great opportunity to refocus. A lot of people are providing resources that maybe they don't usually do, but I mean, it's an opportunity to learn something, you know, get something new going on in your life, even a hobby, even some of the LA Fitness where I go to work out. Obviously they're closed, but they have an online app where you can actually still do classes. Usually you have to pay for it. Now they're offering it to their customers for free, which is amazing. So it's a great way to just rethink and pivot your life and make sure it's the way you want it and it's the business you want. And really quick, Mitch says, thanks, Jessika Phillips. This is a perfect time to help and not sell. So many people with so many questions and worries. This is so true. And then Mitch also quoted Warren Buffett, opportunities come infrequently. When it rains gold, point out the bucket, not the thimble. And this is so, God, I love that quote, Mitch. Thank you.
That was good.
Yeah.
I have to run, you guys, but I just wanted to say real quick, Jessika, I'm so glad I stayed for that, because you're right. That's what we've all been doing, is like doing these virtual dinners. And I love the game thing is great. And, you know, I've also muted a lot of folks that were pretty negative, and it's left my stream open when I am on there, because I'm on Twitter quite a bit, but for all the positive things that people are sharing. So it's been pretty advantageous in that sense. And it's really made things a lot more distilled, so that what I am consuming is really great information.
I'll be there with wine with you tonight. So
yes, you will.
Yeah, let us know how we can. So Mia, what are you doing tonight? What time? Please let everyone know.
So I am doing I'm doing a Friday with the Frenchie. I have every Friday. It's at 6:00 Mountain Time, and it's me drinking wine with my rescue dog. And also doing energy clearings, and we do inspiration cards. This week is my birthday, party one or two with Charlie. So we're going to be celebrating the canceled birthday. But more than anything, I've been loving doing the live streams to just put the positivity out. And then I'm literally getting energy from folks when I'm doing these live streams, because we're sending it to each other. It's so cool.
It's so powerful. And so Mia's like, I love watching it with my daughter. We both watch. So Mia's met my daughter. There's been some funny times with that as well. And she loves Mia, but it's just a great way to relax and just take it easy after a work week, you know, and all the things going on. So go to Mia's Facebook page, right?
Yes, it's on Mia Voss, and then I'm also streaming to Mia on the Go and to Gidget's Facebook page too. Gidget the Recipe Frenchie.
Awesome. Mia, thank you so much for taking the
I
time.
love you guys.
You're
Thank
amazing.
you.
Keep being awesome. And we'll
Bye,
watch.
honey.
Thank you. Bye.
Hi, Mia. All right. So, Debra, I want to switch it to you. I feel like a lot of during times of crisis or just negativity is born a lot of positivity, or just like, you know what, this is what I really want to do. I would love to know, in your career path through entrepreneurship and everything else, what was the pivoting point for you, and what business tips can you give business owners, not during even this time, but just during any time, to make sure they're doing the right things, keeping the right things in mind, and staying successful?
You bet. Well, I think that one of the fun things that we can do right now is really define not only one workspace where we are, but choose a couple of spaces around your home that you can kind of, like I've got my studio here, and then I have a spot on the couch that's set up with a, the perfect spot for my coffee. There's a plug right behind me. I can sit and chill and have the fire going. And then I also have another spot that's easily, I can do stand by in my kitchen. And so think about fun ways that you can shake up your space, not only now, but going forward as you do more work as an entrepreneur or as a business consultant or an employee, as your company may decide to do more at home working, more telecommuting, because they are seeing what we've heard here, which is there's just spikes in productivity. Not everybody does well working at home, but a lot of people do, and they didn't know it. So have some fun with that. I've heard the term self-care a couple of times, and there's a couple of tips that I've really been focused on the last couple of weeks, and that is take the time where you were commuting or preparing to go to work, whether that's the shower, makeup, get up routine, or as Jessika was saying in the afternoon, for those parents out there that have kiddos that had a ton of activities, like take that time and really invest it intentionally. Don't let life or work take over that time. Find time in the morning to go for a walk. And if you do have small kiddos at home, make the walks fun and interesting, get their minds working so that you're exhausting them out a little bit, right? Maybe it's a nature hike and you're taking photos of all the mushrooms they can find or all of the flowers, or give them something to really focus on and take pictures of, so that it helps to tire them out, so that when they get back, they can chill out a little bit. Because they're used to having super scheduled time, right? And this is also helping the parents who are working from home, because they actually have a chance to get out, get some fresh air, while of course maintaining the 6 feet of space between you and somebody you're passing. Like, it's important to do that still, like keep it separated. Also a shout out to everybody who does have dogs. Don't pet other people's dogs, and don't let people pet your dog right now. Like, this is something we don't think about, but hello, don't do that. No letting dogs lick your hands or anything like that. Like, keep it clean. And then really look at, what have you been putting off, right? What if, like in your self-care program, is that meditation? Is that working out? Is that getting more walks in? Is that simply drinking more water? And start to infuse those. Also, I've heard the term like shutting the news out, muting people because it's negative. One of the things that I've implemented in one of my Lioness Prides is a news squad. And so we each have one day a week where we listen to the news. And then we let everyone know, like, is there something you have to know about?
I love that. I love that.
And so if there's not, it's like, hey, everything's pretty much the same. Yes, a few more people died today. We're not going to focus on that. We're going to focus on nothing major happened on the planet. The economy is still afloat. But it allows you to step away from it. And so you can continue to grow that news squad. You can turn it into 14, 21, 30 people. So you don't have to be wading through all of the fear mongering. And it's frightening when you open your Facebook feed these days, because there's always something big or a new live popping up from somewhere. And you're thinking, oh Lord, what are they going to say? What are they going to say? Stop doing that. Spread it out.
I love the news squad. It's a news squad, right? That's what you call it?
The news squad. Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm so doing that. So my sister watches the news like religiously every night, and usually like I don't. So if there's something important, she'll like text me about it, but it's this kind of the same thing. I get it, and I'm just like, I got to stay away from it. That's how you're just going to, I don't know, keep a healthy mind and everything else. So, Rebekah, to you, this is your turn. So I would love to know. And so you guys, about 6 weeks ago, I had an amazing Facebook Live with Rebekah. We talked for like 90 minutes. Her story of entrepreneurship and just her professional business is incredible. But I would love for you, Rebekah, to share some tips, not just during a time of crisis, but how you've gotten through tough times in your business, and maybe some really good productivity tips that you always make sure that you do every quarter or twice a year or something like that. And before you answer that, though, I really do want to give a quick shout out to Brandon Berkmeyer. He said, wow, look at this powerhouse of marketing thought leaders. I met Brandon for the first time at Social Media Marketing Worlds a couple weeks ago. He is awesome. He's actually truly amazing. Brandon, share any links or anything you have in here so everyone can know about that. Mitch Jackson said multiple home workspaces, so smart. And along with that, Eric Fisher said different environments so you don't feel like you are sitting at a desk all day. This is also true, and those were great tips. But Rebekah, bringing it back to you, I just would love to know, I mean, we could talk forever, just a couple of inspirational things and things that you make sure in your business that you do to make sure you're on a successful path.
Yeah, it's hard to follow in the footsteps of all of the great advice that's already been given. It's so interesting, isn't it, that, as Mia said, we're all a bit on this even playing field right now, where there was a divide between working at home, going to an office, maybe working within your local small business. And now we're all faced with the same challenges. And that is, how do I get work done in an environment that I'm not completely comfortable in? How do I stay focused with so much going on and coming at us? And how do I actually feel like I'm pushing forward, like I'm productive? And I think there's several things within that we can do, especially right now. So first of all, take back what is yours within your business. So whether you were working from home or in an office before, too often we get tugged in a million different directions. People are coming up to our desk, or they're pinging us on Slack or on social media, wherever it might be. And now is a great time to reestablish boundaries between the urgent and the important. So what typically wins out is the urgent, right? It's those people that are screaming at us that this needs to happen right now, that client that had something unfortunate happen. And we push off the important things. And those important things are the things that if we don't maintain focus on those, our business slips, we trip. And that starts to show up in our revenue and our sales. So I think now is a great time to really push back on all that has been tugging at you as urgent and realign your focus with what is truly important within your business. I loved the comment about the wife that was feeling a bit guilty because she was getting so much done. And that truly is the power of just knowing what is important in your business, what you've got to get done, and then getting into that deep state of work. And that's another really important piece as you're working from home, is to start to chunk out your priorities. So as you think about what those important pieces are, chunk those out into, say, hey, this is writing time. Then I'm going to take that writing hat off, and this is going to be creative time. And then I'm going to take that hat off. So think about how you can chunk very similar work throughout your day so that you're not constantly switching trying to move from one thing to the next, changing gears, because that's really tough, and really giving yourself that ability to get deep into the details, because what you're going to find is the deeper you allow yourself to get, the quicker you're going to get as well, the faster you're going to get stuff done. So within all of that too is one other really important piece that I'll share, which is the power of no, and being able.
All of us are laughing.
Right?
True.
Yes. It goes back to boundaries and realizing that whether you're no longer in an office, you're sitting at home, or you've been an entrepreneur, a lot of people are going to ask a lot of things from you. And now is a great time to remember why you do what you do, who you help, what it is that you are really, really good at, and what are those things that you're just kind of so at, and maybe don't truly enjoy. And you should be saying no to, but you've been saying yes because you're a nice person, and oh boy, they really need you there, and oh boy, they could really help, use your help right now. Just all of those things we've heard, but it's going to be especially critical as our energy is getting just totally sapped with everything that's going on, that we hold on to that positive energy within us by saying no to those things that, they really don't serve us or our business. They're not putting more of that positive energy back out into our communities right now. So learning how to say no, I think this is a great time for us to figure those two words out.
Those are all powerful tips and information, Rebekah. Oh my gosh. And
can I share one thing to what Rebekah said? I loved when she was talking about blocking out time. That has been really important with everyone, like not having those days in the office together, because they would just pop into each other's office, right? And back to George's wife's point, she's getting so much more done. As we know, when we work from home, we get a lot more done. But do that also as a team. If you're working on projects together, like we've been blocking out times to chat about a project where the parties that are working on it can come in together and work on it. So then you can all knock it out and then get everything scheduled in those blocks. And it does help so much. So like as Debra was saying, you have that other time to go out and take a walk, and you're adding those things in and not letting work just consume you, but blocking those times out. And if you do feel like sharing the news, so I told my team, like, I'm not sharing any of the news, but I do give them the time each day to like watch when the White House makes an announcement. Like that's the only one, or the governor, that's it, like watching those. But then you can block all those times out, and it does really help with productivity and communication, because that's the biggest thing when you're working in a big team where maybe you're used to being able to pop in each other's office and work on something. The last thing you want is communication to fall by the wayside. So look at blocking potentially your calendars together is a great tip by Rebekah, and something we've been doing here that has really helped make a difference.
And I'm glad you brought that up too. Calendar blocking is something that I love doing, but it's hard sometimes, with Slack and other things, and checking email just to get distracted or something is more urgent coming up. But when you stay focused and just let people know, I'm going to be concentrating on this the next 2 hours. And that's an important thing I've learned, letting people know, letting, your boss even know that, and then they understand what you're doing, or, so they understand where you are during that certain amount of time. But really quick, we've got Mitch Jackson said urgent versus important. Rebekah Radice, this is such a good point you made. So true. We've got Stephen J. Love in the house. He's new here, but he's loving this. Solid entrepreneurs sharing solid tips. Stephen, let us know a little bit more about you. If you have, products, a website, a podcast, share those links in here and let us know a little bit more about you so we can brag about you and share what you provide to others. John Stanley is in the house. He's so amazing. He's an educator, and he said focus during this time is trying for sure. It is very difficult to focus. There's a lot of stuff, popping at you, but just like, the tips that you said, Debra, Rebekah, and Jessika, just making sure you block out the bad. You have your news. What was it? News Squad.
Your news squad.
Yes.
You know what? I have one more tip that just like popped into my head when I was hearing all of you. Have you all tried the Pomodoro technique?
Yes.
This is so key for those of you who have never worked from home, who are like, how do I focus when there's laundry and dishes and kids? It's such a simple, like you can download the Pomodoro app, or you can just get a kitchen timer or use your watch, whatever. But you set 25 minutes on a timer and you focus on one thing for 25 minutes. Nothing else. There's no getting up and going to the restroom. There's no talking. There's no checking email. It is honestly, the first few are excruciating because you have no idea how distracted you are until you literally are focusing on one thing for 25 minutes. And then for those of you who are super competitive, in particular with yourself, like I am, you can start to track how many Pomodoros you get in one day. And it is amazing the amount of work you will get done. So 25 minutes, bam, you do it, you get up, you get your cup of coffee, you go to the restroom, you take a walk, whatever, but see how many Pomodoros you can do. That is a huge way to hone the skill of focus right now.
Debra, I love that. And our amazing producer has shared the link in the comments already while you were talking. So if you're interested in that, I'm actually going to download the app, Debra, because I love that. I think that's just, I don't know, kind of really cool. What I actually bought myself is an hourglass. So I had to focus on something for an hour. Like I just do nothing else and I see the time and and it's hard. But, you know, after you do it a couple of times, you're just like, man, I've got this. I'm pretty awesome. Let's do another hour. And it's
like rewarding yourself after you do it, you know, like after you do the 25 minutes, then rewarding yourself, like as Debra was saying, like in beating your own score or whatever. The end of the day. But
well, kids love it too. Kids, like if you've got kids at home, give them all their own little timer. Like, and then you get 2 or 3 in a row, they get something special. Like, focus.
Oh my God, Debra, that's so smart. And we've got Don Stanley. He says it rocks. I use Pomodoro with brain.fm to keep me focused. Great tip, Debra, for those of us who are competitive with ourselves. I'm very competitive too. As someone who suffers from squirrel syndrome, this is a wonderful technique. I love that. Yes. And then Gail Gillian said Pomodoro is definitely the way to go. It's how I'm able to do what I do. Gail, that's so awesome. And Gail, let us know. I think this is my first time seeing you in here. Let us know some more information about you. If you've got a website that we can share out, let us know. We'd love to kind of support you and everything like that. So along with productivity tips, and I can't believe it's almost been an hour. It's almost 3:00. I would love for each of you, because there's Slack, there's Asana. What are the top 2 or 3 tools that you use in your business to keep you organized, focused, and keep your clients happy and everything else? Let's start with you, Rebekah.
Well, you mentioned 2 of my favorites already.
We'll talk about them more, how they help you.
Yeah. So Asana is my project management invaluable tool, especially if you're just making that transition. It can really help you keep focused, on track. You can use it if you've got a team. So we use it as our team to manage all of our projects, down to even the minutia, the little tasks that come into your day-to-day. And a great way to do it is just a huge brain dump. Just get everything out of your head and into something like Asana, and start to schedule those. So due dates, and you can really start to see then how much you're getting done on a day-to-day basis. Slack is phenomenal, just from a communication standpoint. We use it all day, every day. I think I heard you say, Jessika, you're using it as well. Just a wonderful, real-time way to stay connected to everybody at this point. Keep everybody motivated, keep everybody focused, keep everybody on track. Tools like Zoom, or just even, Google Meetups are fabulous too, just because hearing people is one thing, but being able to see your face during something like this is excellent too. Agora Pulse, you are my go-to for all of my content across social media. So that, as I was talking about, I think at the beginning of really pivoting all of my content, my messaging, You made my life infinitely easier. I'll be the first to say I didn't even realize I could pause all of my content buckets, as I call them, my categories. But oh my gosh, what a world of difference than having to one by one go through all of your messaging. So just really getting into a tool like Asana or like an Agora Pulse that gives you management at scale. It's going to set some really terrific habits for today, but for you going forward, that are going to bleed into everything that you do. So I would think really, really strongly about what you're investing your time into. The one last I would share is Shift. I've used Shift for many, many years. And the cool part about it is all of these tools pull into Shift. So you can pull all of your email, all of your tools. It can open. So we use all of the Google tools available to us as a team every day. So you can open all of your docs, your spreadsheets, everything right in one location, because I don't know about you, but bouncing all over the place from tool to tool, from email to email can be a real headache. And so a tool like that can make it really, really simple to keep yourself organized.
I think I need Shift. I have probably 20 tabs open right now, which actually is weak and mild for me. My boss knows this. He had a heart attack almost when he saw how many tabs I had open. But anyway.
Okay, so I'll tell you one more then. One more is one tab. Add that to Chrome.
Yes.
And I probably use that 5 times a day, and you just shut everything down, and it acts as a bookmark, and it saves every single tab you had open, so you can just go back.
Oh my God, this is why I have watch parties like 5 days after the fact, because then I actually take all these notes. This is fabulous. This is awesome. And I want to get to you, Jessika and Debra, but really quick, awesome conversation about tools. Ashley Graham said the Time Cube is also a really cool tool. So Ashley, I'm going to have to look at that. She loves Asana. Gail loves Workana, and she also said Shift and Streak, which I haven't heard of Workana or Streak, but Gail, I'm going to have to definitely look into those. Those sound really awesome. Carrie says, I use Asana, then Trello. I use them differently. Asana is the powerhouse and my brain. We use Asana and Trello too. Yes, Gail, we love you. We're so excited you're here. Steven, the one I mentioned, it's his first time. He's currently taking this quarantine time to rebrand his business. Stay tuned. So Stephen, we hope you join us again next week and let us know how that's going, and definitely share with us, message us privately here at Agora Pulse. Let us know how we can help you in any way. Larry Weinstein says Asana is cool. Trello has been cool to track projects as well. Brandon has a good question. Do you find you need both Slack and Asana, or is just one fine? I like both, Brandon. I kind of really do. Slack is just, I know you can message in Asana, but I love Slack for instant messaging my boss all the time about everything, like editing graphics this morning. I woke him up probably. And, but yeah, I kind of like both, but you could use just one or the other.
You could. I would just add to that for us, Asana is our one source of truth. So it's that one place for every project, every task, every conversation that has to do with the management of that event, piece of content, whatever it might be, where we use Slack as real time, like you're talking about, Jen, where you can have boom, 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 those really quick conversations that you need a response to. So I think it's just thinking about how you'll use those. But for me, Slack really supports Asana in the sense that it empowers us to get work done a whole lot faster.
I love that. No, that's good. Thank you, Rebekah, for your input. Todoist, Sakshi, I probably mispronounced that. I apologize. She said, it's great to make the entire team collaborate on tasks while on the move or away from your desk. I'm definitely going to look into that. Zapier is great for automation. Larry says that as well. It's the bomb for automation. The little bit of time setting it up is so worth it. The cost is free or almost free. John said, this is a great tip, Rebekah, installing one tab right now. And then my boss, who's the producer of the show, hashtag true story, on basically everything I just said. I did message him this morning. Jessika, I would love to know, is there anything to add to those kind of tools?
They're all good.
Apps that you can't live, like content creation apps.
Content creation apps. Well, the one I was talking about, several of them have been mentioned. Trello's awesome to create Agorapulse, of course, to bring in all your conversations and be able to communicate with your team on posts and messages that have been coming in. You can tag another team member so they can follow up with it. It's a great way to communicate there. Google is my go-to for everything. Really, that's pretty much my business is ran on Google because, if you're thinking about sending back and forth, maybe you're working on a content and you're creating it in Word before and somebody's making changes and then sending you back another revision. Good God, that's a whole lot of mess happening. So if you can do it in Google Docs, then every change is saved, it's timestamps who did it, and you have the copy that is the final version right there, and everybody can collaborate in on it. They have Google Sheets that kind of do the same thing. So if you're, instead of using like an Excel sheet that you're sending back and forth, so if you're, working on several things in the business, whether it's content creation or collecting information via a Google form, all of it can be ran through Google. Collaboration can be done through Google Hangouts. As Rebekah said, there's something to be said. Every meeting that we do, I'm sharing a Google Hangout link so we can communicate there and see each other. And then I can take notes at the same time and Google as well. So I really love their tools. It's very powerful. And Todoist that was mentioned, love that for just saving the task that you have to do. And then my favorite thing is Messenger though. Like I love sending like audio messages back and forth instead of just sending something that's like a quick text so people can still hear your tone. You can still get information across that you want to share. And they can reply back then typically with an audio message. So I love that for even talking about content projects, just sending a quick audio message instead of trying to schedule a phone call to go over things, right? So, but all the other tools that have been mentioned, I love. The very last one I'll mention that I use a lot more now at home. I don't have a fax or a scanner. I don't know if anybody has a fax anymore, but some people need things faxed to them. You can get the PDF scanner on your phone. So I've been doing that when you send in payroll and stuff like that to send it in quickly, as well as GroupMe. GroupMe is a free tool where you can just add your team members to and have an ongoing kind of group text thread without the annoying group text thread alerts, if that makes sense. So it's a great way for private communication with your team.
Those are great. I love all those. And Gail said Voxer. Voxer is really good as well. A couple of our good friends use those. And then Brian said, yes, tone helps stand out and be memorable as well. Love those audio messages. Yeah. So true. So Debra, do you have any other badass tools that you'd like to add to the mix?
Yeah. So I was going to actually shout out to Voxer as well. And I actually use it with my family. I know we've been talking a lot about business, but it's a really great way to keep in touch with family and, what's going on so that there's not constant phone calls coming in all day, every day. And what I specifically love about Voxer is that you can speed up the message. Ooh. Right. So you can listen to somebody at 3 times. So if you've got, maybe it's your pops or your mom and they leave 10-minute voicemails for you. Now, if they're doing it on Voxer, you can listen to it in 3 minutes if you just increase the speed. And so that's really how my sister and nieces and mom and we keep in touch every day there. And it allows you to, yes, hear their voice, but speed it up if they're super wordy. So that's a big one, the Pomodoro, which I mentioned already. And then we've talked about Google, kind of Google Drive and those docs. I use the spreadsheets as much as possible because you can set up notification rules that if there's an update in there, you don't have to wait for someone else to say, I've done something. It'll automatically send you an email that says this sheet has been updated. And so when I'm doing any kind of collection of data, if I'm using Google Forms, I automatically go in and set up under tools the notification rule to send me an email once a day, or upon completion of the form, it'll ping me. So for those of you who are wanting to work through things rapidly, if you can use the sheets, it really makes that super efficient.
Oh my God, those are, I didn't even realize you could increase the speed on Voxer, guys.
Yes.
I don't use it that much, but now I'm going to be like, bzz, bzz, bzz.
Oh man, it comes in so handy.
You don't want to, Jen. It's like,
Yeah. Oh my God, I'm so going to do that. And so Sakshi, who I messaged before, she said I pronounced it perfectly. So I love that. Thank you. She's, it's an Indian name, but she is working on developing an e-com for her premium bedding label and would love to take inputs of people of this community on the website as well as product while we develop it. And she has her website there. And I actually just went to it, and the pillows and everything she has, the bedding is stunning. Like, it's beautiful. So definitely check that out, because it's gorgeous. And if you have any questions or need anything from us, we are here to support you, Sakshi. So we're going to get to our last question for our panelists. But if you do have a question here, you still have time. So let us know. So really quick, guys, I can't believe we could talk forever. You guys are just amazing. I love this. So much good advice going on right now. Scott Ayers says, I haven't used Voxer in years. I'm going to Vox you, Scott, and see if you respond.
We're boxing you when we're done.
Right now. And Brian said, you can speed it up so everyone can talk as fast as me or talk like me, which is very, very true. So during a time like this, I think storytelling is huge in marketing, right? Everyone has their unique story to tell. And I feel like now is the time to do that. And I have always been nervous about being vulnerable online, about things I'm going through. I'm struggling with this isolation or other things. And Brian was one of many people that talked to me about how vulnerability is a superpower. So I would love to hear from each of you, kind of to wrap things up. And if you have any last minute advice, what tips you have for storytelling, and, how maybe vulnerability has helped you succeed. Because I know when I've gone through some difficult times in business and in personal life, like my divorce, being vulnerable about it, I didn't realize other people were going through similar things. And, it creates a bond and almost like a community, and it's pretty amazing. So, Debra, let's start with you. Tell us how storytelling has potentially helped your business, or how people can really implement that in their business strategy.
You bet. Well, I think, again, since I've been running my own practice this is year 8, learning to be comfortable telling my story was the first thing I had to kind of get over, right? For instance, now people are sharing what they're doing during their days. They're sharing photos of their nature hikes, and, taking pictures of where they're having their coffee in the morning in their kitchen. And they're sharing these things that, for the first couple of years being in business for myself, I felt like I had to hide that, like I wasn't going to be taken seriously as a business. And so I think there's a first layer of vulnerability, which is saying, this is my world. This is the behind the scenes of my life. I'm not in a high rise in downtown Seattle, looking at Puget Sound, sipping my fabulous coffee. I'm actually in my yoga pants in the kitchen, looking out over my backyard. And so I think that, releasing any kind of stress or fear that you're going to be judged for where you are is huge. So like embrace that. And then in my world, as I shared, I am a voice for women in business, right? I am really passionate about helping women step into their feminine power in business, right? The world is very male designed today, and it's not good or bad. It's just different than how women tend to do business. And so I'm also looking at this from looking at the feminine energy as that used to be considered a vulnerability, and now it's a strength. Mm-hmm. And us coming together in circles, whether it's on Zoom or whether it's FaceTiming each other or simply sending each other love boxes or messages, that leading with our hearts and being soul-centered as entrepreneurs is going to help us heal what we're going through. And open up. My friend Kelly says, open up the kimono, right? Show who you are, and it's okay if, as long as you're authentically sharing who you are, as long as it's not scheduled vulnerability or scheduled stories that feel awkward. And you all know what I'm talking about, right? You've read those stories where you're like, great, like some copywriter wrote about that story from when you were 10. Like, don't do that. Like, we can all smell that. It's stinky. Stop that. But also embrace the vulnerability. Let's not let it stay here simply because of what we're going through now. Like, embrace this new normal and really move into this authentic self, this unleashing, if you will, of the feminine energy for men and women. We all have it inside of us. So as we're rebuilding, as we're moving towards a new normal, embracing the vulnerability of that side of ourselves, I think is going to be such a beautiful outcome to experience. And I'm really looking forward to that.
And Debra, I love that advice because I feel like that's going to strengthen communities, build new communities, and just really tie people together. I think I'm trying to remember where I heard it today, but together we're all separated or something like that. Something how like, yes, we're all isolated, but we're all isolated together. That's what it was. But I love how you talked about being authentic, about being vulnerable and not doing scheduled vulnerability, because people try to be someone else or not themselves, but I'm pretending to be vulnerable, but people do smell that, like sniff it out. But when you're really, truly your vulnerable, authentic self, it's beautiful how amazing things can happen. And you will find your tribe, people that rally around you and will support you and your business and your company. It's such a powerful thing. And I would love to hear from you, Rebekah, on, a moment that you had when you were vulnerable that really, helped you out or was pivoting, or any advice you have for businesses about telling their unique story.
Mm-hmm. There's so much in that, isn't there?
Yes. That's a loaded question, Rebekah, on purpose. Oh, no. And I think we just lost your audio. Let's see.
Oh, am I back?
You're back. I
don't know how that happened, but there you go. We're back. Yeah. I was listening to Debra and just all of the thoughts that swirl around in our heads about being vulnerable and telling our story and really putting ourselves out there. And I have, my goodness, really struggled with this, that whole fear of, I don't know enough. People are going to find me out. I'm going to tell this story and people are all of a sudden going to realize that I have all these flaws just like they do. And when we can let go of that fear and really shed that, and I think that's what Debra's talking about is being real in our vulnerability, we start to show up for our audience, for our customers, for our clients, for our friends, for our family in an incredibly different way, where instead of holding back, and I just think about the exhaustion that is within that when we're trying to hold on to that vulnerability, to holding up that facade of we're perfect. Everything we do is always picture perfect. And instead letting that go and realizing that there is incredible power, just like Brian mentioned to you, in just being honest with here's what's going on with me, or here's what I lived through, and here's how I came through it on the other side. And here's what I know about that. Jen, you and I, we hopped on a call earlier this week, and we were talking about having two families, that come together and how you work through that. And I was just sharing with you how, gosh, it is not a bed of roses when you first start dating or you first get married, and you have two families that are trying to blend together, and all of the mistakes that I made through that. And what a great bonding moment for you and I to be able to talk through, wow, here's some of the challenges and here's how we work through that. So just think about what are those topics that if you've got one person asking you for your advice on something, what is that topic that you could bring to your audience that you could share your real life story, your real world experience? And I think now more than ever, and we've been talking about that throughout this entire live, is what do you know? What do you do? What road have you walked? What journey have you been on that you may think, hey, you are not the expert on? But people that are going through it right now, your advice is invaluable. And then there's just that comfort in knowing that somebody else has been there, done that somebody else has kind of paved the way and come through on the other side as well. I think that's an important aspect we miss sometimes too, that it's so relieving to realize that maybe the dark day you're in right now, hey, there is that other side of it where you come through, and not only do you come through as okay, but you come through 100 times better. And I think about that right now with everything that's going on with coronavirus. There are positives in all of this that hopefully we've spelled out here today, that there are positive ways we can redefine or redesign our business. There are positive ways that we can retool how we're going about doing business. So our processes, how we look at how we're maybe promoting or talking about our business. And I think so much of that circles back to our willingness to be vulnerable, our willingness to be authentic, and to test things too, because there's a lot within that too, where you're going to have to try things right now that are maybe not going to work. Maybe your audience just isn't ready, or they're not going to be responsive. And so I think another part of that is being okay with that and being honest with your audience. Hey, so I did this and that didn't work out. So pivot.
Just coming from a meteorologist perspective. So first of all, Rebekah, I loved our conversation on Tuesday, still thinking about it and just your advice and everything, and being able to be vulnerable to you just individually, like it just, I don't know, unlocked something. It was awesome. So thank you. But along with that, admitting when things don't go right. As a meteorologist, I was an on-camera meteorologist for several years. And sometimes you would forecast rain and it didn't happen. Or you forecasted a gorgeous sunny day and it rained and people are mad at you and sending you messages. And I would always have to be like, hey guys, like this isn't perfect. I'm not I don't have a crystal ball. We looked at the models, something happened. So, and it's okay. Everyone will understand that. And I think vulnerability is a great way to be relatable to people. Yeah. People are just like, oh my God, they're just like me. I thought they had this everything was cupcakes and rainbows and they started their business and became millionaires and that's what it was. And it's like, no, there's a lot of nitty gritty, late nights, all that kind of stuff involved in it. And so it can help you really resonate. So Jessika, I would love to hear from you. You started your business in 2010 with just a laptop, and just how telling your story has allowed you to grow, build your community, and how you helped your clients, to be more vulnerable and tell their stories.
Yeah, so part of that cut out, so I think I heard you, but first of all, I love what everyone else has said. Like, I'm a new fangirl of you, Debra, by the way. Just loved all your tips, and Rebekah, always been a fangirl. But I think a big thing of what we're all seeing, as we've said, we're all on this level playing field. This is really what it's been about, but now we're kind of forced into it, if you will, right? I seen this message the other day that was a meme, and it was talking about the way that you treat your child when they step into your live stream or your call, and the way you treat them is going to show your client how you will treat them in that situation and future situations, right? So just
wow.
being relatable of saying, we're all going through this together. We can all treat each other like human. No, none of us are perfect. We may be predicting rain or sunshine or whatever, and things don't go our way. But we have to be understanding of others that have those situations and their understanding of us. And when we do need to open up, it's not to say you have to go on this live stream and announce this big, deep, dark circle or something, deep, dark secret or something that's going on, but it is to say that you find someone that you can first communicate with and share your story with, whether that's a one person that's a friend that you've met online or whatever, and reach out to them. And then maybe, you know, they find someone else and you build this community and this tribe of people that you can really stay connected with. So with growing Now Marketing Group, as you said, and helping other clients kind of grow theirs, it always focuses on first them as a company. Who do you want to be? What do you want to be known for? Well, bringing in your team so your team feels that they can be vulnerable with you right now in this moment and what they're going through, and then focus on your community as a whole. Find that community. Who can you support? Can you make this small group of people that really have each other's back, that you really can be transparent with on your worst days, on your best days, they're going to cheer you on, you know, all of those things, to where it does help us build confidence. And as you know, others have shared here today, you know, we don't always think that we're good at what we do, but then we think everybody else is so much better because we're seeing like the highlight reel, right? So, but when we get into those communities, we can all be transparent and everybody's saying, oh man, you're doing an awesome job. We've been through that before too. Don't worry. You know, here's what you can do. I've been through that. Here's some tools that I can give you that's really helped me. And when we all share like that and are really open to supporting one another, everybody wins in this situation. And you find, like you said, Jen, other people that you didn't even know had situations that are now looking to you and saying, thank you for sharing that because it helped me. And you usually stay connected then for much longer time than if you're just liking something and kind of moving on, right? It's a powerful thing to just authentically relate with others and get to a place of connection in a meaningful way that isn't surface level.
And this is, so you guys got to understand, Jessika Phillips is like a relationship marketing expert. So that coming from her, you definitely need to listen to her. And everyone, these are so many amazing tips. Really quick, Brian Fanzo, these current times are a reminder of how much more alike we are than different. No better time to share your authentic self. This is so true. Carrie Ray is like, we aren't perfect. I know. I struggle with that sometimes too. Yeah. And then Brian said meteorologists are pretty much never right. So I would say you've been watching the wrong meteorologist your entire life.
I was just going to say that.
Yes. Yeah. So anyway, moving on from that, someone's in the doghouse. That's what someone just got from the doghouse. So I warned, just that we were talking before the show, I warned them that we go usually over an hour and it's almost 90 minutes now. So in respect of everyone's time, we're going to wrap it up. I feel like we could talk about this for a really long time, but I want to thank all of our guests, panelists, Jessika, Rebekah, Debra, for joining us today, sharing your insight, your inspiration, your positivity, and just all your tips, because I think, you know, just having a fun conversation, getting out of the normal daily grind and, you know, learning is such a great way, you know, any day, but, you know, especially during this time. So I'm going to go around and please share any books you have, podcasts, where can people keep in touch with you? Debra, we're going to go with you. Debra Trappen, guys.
Thank you. I want to speak into the divine leader in all of us right now. And I do have a tool. So I've got some tools. If you go to debratrappen.com/lioness, and that the lions out there watching can go there too. It's for men and women, but I use lioness. So debratrappen.com/lioness. It's time to flip the fear and the failure that you have on loop, and focus on what we've gained in this time to rest, time to meditate, time to try meditating, time to step into the author we know we are and write that book. Focus on what you've gained. What we focus on flourishes. And if we can all come together, embrace the art of gratitude and focus, we are going to come out on the other side of this stronger and more united than ever. There you go.
I love it. Perfect. Debra, you're amazing. Thank you so much. Rebekah, how can people reach you, stay in contact with you? Any last minute advice?
Yeah. So RebekahRadice.com is the best place to find and connect with me. And I have been writing there since 2004. So lots of tips on productivity, how to really manage your time, a lot of the things that we talked about today. And then you can connect with me on social, where I'm talking about this change and this pivot for all of us. So at Rebekah Radice across any of the socials. And yeah, I'd love to start a conversation, love to find out more about you and really what's going on within your world. I think, as I stated at the very beginning, conversation communication more important than ever before. And I'm seeing that happen. It's really amazing how everybody is reaching out, responding to this with just such compassion, I think, with one another. It's really a beautiful thing to see. So yeah, would love to connect with anybody and everybody, either at the website or over on social media.
Awesome. Rebekah, thank you seriously so much for all of your time. Jessika, we're going to hand it over to you. How can people keep in touch with you? Any, podcasts, anything you got going on?
Yeah, thank you. So you can find me in the social media handle that you most prefer to engage with at jessikaphillips.com. And then I do have just a workbook if you are really interested in honing in and using this time to think about your brand message, your identity, your brand identity as it relates to even connecting with your audience. Just a free workbook that we use this relationship marketing system process that you can download. And it's bit.ly/care, all capital care, more. So bit.ly/care more. And it'll give you the free workbook that you can work on and really refine your messaging and how you want to engage with your audience now and moving forward. So you can really get to connect with them on a more meaningful level.
Awesome. Jessika, thank you so much. We have all the links. Mike has been just working extra hardcore, getting all the links up in the comments. So Mike, thank you. Jessika, Debra, Rebekah, thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who's tuned in, who's joined the conversation, shared their tips, their insight. We greatly appreciate all of that. And, we're all in this together, always, not just during crisis, but always. That's something to remember. We love you guys. We're always here for you. So again, thank you all so much. And a really special thing is we've had our Social Success Summit 3.0, and it was going to be ending today, but we are extending it for an extra 2 weeks. These are free courses, sessions from over 30 experts in the industry. We understand a lot of people are home. They may have a little extra time on their hands. This is a great way to do some extra learning. So you can just go to agorapulse.heysummit.com and register, and make sure to register by Monday. And that'll make sure that you get all those courses for the next 2 weeks until April 6th. So yes, but again, everyone, thank you so much. You're so wonderful, amazing. Let's turn this into a great time, a time of community, empowerment, being authentically yourself, and growth. So I love all you guys. Thank you so much. And we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.